Now, if you notice, she mentioned the Education Secretary. You're all going to love this because we got our boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Peter Doocy doing yeoman's work on the White House lawn here with Education Secretary. So the Education Secretary, Miguel Cardona, openly admitted Wednesday that President Joe Biden's student loan debt forgiveness plan will not benefit Americans who already paid off their debt or never used debt to pay off for college in the first place. A lot of things I've been talking about on the show is just those that already have debt. There are people that are paying off other people's debt that never went to college, that never took out the debt themselves. So they're getting doubly effed. It's like complete. And he's just like, oh yeah, pretty much, yeah, they're screwed. We got a video clip on it. Don't worry. We will get there. We will watch it. The administration underscores what millions of Americans, those who paid off their loans, already believe is an unfair plan. Yeah, it's more than unfair. It's crazy. It's asinine. And this clip here, the way this guy answers questions, he dodges ones just like Karine Jean-Pierre does, as well as the rest of the Biden White House, and some of them are just absolutely just baffling.
It's a good day for America, a good day for those who are thinking about higher education in the future, because not only does it provide student loan forgiveness, it also fixes a system that's broken. And to those who are saying it's not fair, look, the aim of this is really to address the effects of the pandemic. It's my responsibility to make sure that people aren't coming out of the pandemic worse off than they were at the beginning.
But to the fairness question, the people that are sitting at home,
right,
having just paid off their student loans or having paid them off
right,
years ago, what's in it for them?
Right. Well, look, when we address some of the issues that could lead to default payments or default borrowers in the future, that affects everyone. We should be proud that we're able to help Americans that need help right now, just like we help businesses, small businesses during the pandemic. It's about making sure we're taking care of Americans and investing in our economy and in our people.
But
I would like to point out, and this is another talking point that the progressive left are using, and some guy wrote in the comments, and forgive me if you're a follower of the Bald Brad Show, but you made a silly comment, man, on one of the videos where you're like, well, where was all the enthusiasm? Where was the complaining and whining when there was the forgiveness through the PPP loans for businesses? Somebody else going out and deciding to take out a loan to go for college is vastly different than the government literally forcing your business to be shut down, not allowing employers to go to work, also not allowing customers to go into your place of business. Thus, in order to pay people, of which sometimes the government required you to do, is vastly different than somebody going out and taking out a loan, not being forced. Nobody's sitting there taking their hand, making them draw the pen and sign the signature. No. The government forced them. So if the government's going to force something upon you, they better reimburse you through the Fifth Amendment, by the way, to do so. That does not apply to student loans. So before you come at me, you better do your research. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because the PPP stuff, that loan forgiveness for businesses, is vastly different. And just because they had profits doesn't mean that it's still okay for them to shut them down and not allow them to do business and not allow their employers to show up so their employers can help run the business as well. And sometimes, even if the business was open, it still is not going to apply to that analogy even in the first place. So no matter which way you work at it, you got to do some squirrely thinking, my friend, to sit there and say, well, the student loan debt forgiveness is on par with the PPP stuff. This whole thing this guy's pushing here of trying to correlate it is exactly what the progressive left are trying to do and making them equal, and they are not equal. One requires force. The other one is freaking pure. That's what you wanted to do. Nobody forced you to do it.
Just the final one on this.
Sure.
The people that already paid their student loans,
right,
they don't get anything out of this deal.
Right.
That's right. Okay. Speaker Pelosi said last year she thought that this was something a president could not do. It would require an act of Congress. So is this legal?
Yeah, look, the HEROES Act, page 637 to be exact, provides access, gives me the authority to provide a waiver to ensure that Americans are not worse off after an emergency, a national emergency, which the pandemic was.
And the big focus here is on college and grad school today. We heard Dr. Fauci yesterday talking about grade school kids, and he said, I don't think it's forever irreparably damaged anyone, talking about remote learning. Do you agree with that?
Look, we know remote learning doesn't substitute for in-person learning. That's why we're thrilled the American Rescue Plan dollars is being used to provide tutoring, to provide additional supports. This school year, our students need us to level up education across the country, get back to making sure kids are reading, math, making sure that they have the supports that they need. I do believe that while remote learning helped during the pandemic, it's no substitute for in-person learning.
And the answer was no, Peter. It didn't do anything. It was actually extremely harmful for students. That was the answer you should have gave. I'm a teacher. I see it in the classroom. I see the damage COVID did to students. I teach mathematics, which is already hard without COVID happening. So this whole thing of like him going, well, it helped, but it didn't help, and trying to just underline and underskirt the whole damage that Anthony Fauci did, as well as honestly, even frankly, Trump for not getting the economy back and up and running. I understand we can't put all the blame on him because you have the localities in the states that were shutting everything down. He can't force states to do certain things on a federal level, especially as an executive branch. But him going, oh, well, the whole remote learning, well, yeah, it wasn't a great thing. But at the end of the day, he doesn't want to sit there and throw Anthony Fauci in the fire, which he should have right there. It was a prime opportunity because, look, we all know COVID-19 did some freaking irreversible damage to some kids growing up, whoever was in school during it.
I know that you guys gave, I think it's $27 billion to school districts to make sure that kids are caught up. What kind of follow-up are you doing to make sure that these students who missed out on so much time are actually caught up?
That's a great question, and I'll be very frank with you. There was a lot of funding through the American Rescue Plan dollars, and rightfully so. Our kids suffered a lot, but now we're putting up new systems of accountability to make sure the money is going to the classrooms and the students are getting the support that they deserve.
But just in terms of making sure that kids who are in fifth grade right now are all at a fifth grade level, what can you do or what are you doing?
Well, state and local governments are the ones that move forward their assessment systems. What we're doing is providing support, accountability, and technical assistance to make sure that they're assessing where their students are and providing tutoring and after-school programming to catch these students up. That's why the American Rescue Plan dollars made so much sense, and that's why across the country, all states are benefiting from it.
So he has no answer. Yeah, and I'm telling you as a teacher, you guys, there is no assessment. There is no plan to make sure that if they're in fifth grade, they're actually reading at a fifth grade level. And if they can't read at a fifth grade level going into sixth grade, that you don't advance them. That's not a thing anymore. That kind of was pretty much done over the Bush administration with the No Child Left Behind Act. You don't get held back anymore. As far as I'm aware, I actually don't know a single student, while I've been a teacher for like 5-6 years now, that has ever been held back. You're talking thousands of kids. There are kids that don't know how to draw a straight line. I'm not talking about middle school. We're talking about seniors in high school. Can't draw a triangle. Can't draw a circle. Don't know what a line is. Okay? So that whole thing of, are they going to be assessed if they can't read at a fifth grade level? How are they going to know? That's not going to happen. Peter Doocy, I'm sorry, brother. That's just not going to happen. He doesn't have an answer. We saw that through that in terms of the education secretary. They don't have a clue on how all this is going to happen. They don't know how to measure it. But he's keep pushing this whole, well, we got all this money, great, the kids were suffering and all these things. So it's gonna cause damage and has caused damage, and we're already seeing the massive ramifications. Us as teachers, we're already trying to figure out how we can remedy this in the school system ourselves. Of how can we sit there and fill missing gaps in knowledge on top of the missing gaps in knowledge that students already had even before COVID. Because through their education, they're gonna have holes in all their knowledge in terms of mathematics. Before COVID, we'd have to fill those. So now they just extrapolated those missing gaps of knowledge because of COVID. And we're expecting to see this for the next 10 or 15 years, the ramifications of COVID. So I don't know where Anthony Fauci's getting his thinking. I don't know where the education secretary is getting his thinking. And by the way, as a teacher, I'm not even for the Department of Education. I don't think we need a Department of Education. I don't know why we have a Department of Education. But I love how everybody's talking about reform and all these things. You're not seeing any reform. You're not seeing anything. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.